Welcome to Young Asia Television.
Hello and welcome to the interview. I'm really happy that Harsha de Silva, Economist, and now a Member of Parliament has joined us again on the program. Harsha, a very warm welcome. You are a nationalist nominee from the United National Party, Harsha, possibly one of the younger faces in Parliament, the newer faces in Parliament, and I think what many believe what Parliament should be heading towards, a younger, more active generation coming into party politics and actually forging laws that are more progressive that we have not seen from parliaments in the past. Harsha, experiences, first days in Parliament, how has it been? Challenging, interesting, anything unexpected? With you?
Thank you, Sanjana. Nice to be back on your show. Yes, it is. It's interesting, to say the least. I've been there for 3 sessions thus far. I spoke yesterday for the first time. Usually people get, I guess, 10-15 minutes, but they kind of pushed me in the deep end and wanted me to speak for half an hour in Sinhala.
Yeah.
And traditionally, you don't get interrupted in your maiden speech, but I was not even 10 minutes into my maiden speech, and Mr. Vasudeva Nanakar from the back, the furthest row on the other side, government side, got up and said something about inflation.
Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe he was animated by the fresh ideas that you are bringing into the forum.
Perhaps. Not in a bad way, What I was saying was that, for the last so many years, people like myself, we have been constructively critical of the central bank's monetary policy. And it was a theoretical argument that we ensued. And that that inflation is always and everywhere monetary phenomena. You print money more than what is required, and what you have is inflation. And I think this whole country got involved in that debate, and money printing became a sort of a household word. Prior to that debate, money printing people never talked about. Now.
And we're printing ugly currency as well.
That aside.
Yes.
And so I guess because it was my first time, I didn't realize that I shouldn't really get engaged in, side discussions. But I did. And then I came back to what I was saying, and it was about winning the economic war. And I said, everybody talks about winning the economic war. Now, who are we fighting? Who is the enemy? Right? It's just, politically people say, me arthika yuddha jagandona. So I was asking them, tell me, who is the enemy? And I was trying to say the enemy is, ourselves,
fiscal policies,
bad economic management. Right? So to win the war, it's more up here. Ideologies, not being stuck in them,
Tell me, Harsha, you didn't enter Parliament with naivete. Certainly you have been an economist, a vocal one. You have been critical of policies. Now you have an opportunity to change it. Now you have the opportunity to get your hands dirty, in a manner of speaking. How optimistic are you that this Parliament can enact the change that you want to see?
Sanjana, you might find this, even I didn't think going in that being just 60 of us in the opposition would possibly be able to make any, significant contribution. But over the last few days, I don't know if it is too early to say this, I feel that the group we have is a fairly strong group.
Intellectually, you mean?
Intellectually, and also dynamic, is able to express themselves. And so I believe, it's got strained somehow, and we got a fairly good quality opposition. So really at this point, Sanjana, it's not about quantity, right? It's about quality, right? So if we can get together and develop arguments that are not, like I said earlier, just for the sake of criticizing, but constructively, show them, look, you need to move back to, pragmatic policies. Don't just say privatization is a dirty word. Let's coin another word. I don't care. Peopleization is what President Premdas did.
Yeah.
Let's get through the political hurdles and address the issues. So, I mean, the first day in Parliament, the day of the inauguration, Mr. Basil Rajapaksa came and spoke to me, and he said, Harsha, I'm really glad you're here. We can have a discussion. I said, I'm really glad.
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah.
And he's gone economic development.
Well, he's got a huge portfolio, actually. So,
Right.
Yeah.
And yesterday in my speech, I said, for whatever it is worth, I have a PhD in economic development.
Yeah.
So there is always, the possibility to have an intellectual discussion. Not necessarily in the well of the House, but in the committees and all these other fora that both opposition and government have the opportunity to meet with experts and all the rest to formulate policies. So to answer your question, I believe yes, because I think, honestly, the government is also willing to listen and to, at least from people like Mr. Basil Rajapaksa and sort of the newer, more sort of dynamic group to move towards something that is going to work.
But it's ironic, isn't it, Harsha? Because in a sense, this is a significant parliament, historically significant. It's the first post-war elections that we've held nationally around the country. The LTT is no more. And yet there is, for want of a better term, a crisis of confidence in the parliament itself and the manner in which it got elected. As you know, many people didn't come out to vote. How would you envisage in your submissions and in the debate that you will, and the rich debate I really hope that you will pursue in the corridors of Parliament, in a sense build, Harsha, that public trust and confidence in the institution as one that is able to take this country forward? Through your own work, I mean, through the submissions you will make on economics and etc., but also in the larger sense as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of voter apathy and people
but
just...
do you see the disconnect? I mean,
I mean, if you look at the numbers, look, historically, this is the lowest voter turnout, right? So people are, for lack of a better word, sick of this whole system, it seems like, right? So I think what needs to happen is the institutions will have to be rebuilt, It's the whole governance, people are saying, look, why, what does it matter? Even if I vote, how do I know whether it is,
what will change kind of thing.
And, like somebody said, it's not the vote that matters, it's the counting that matters, right? So, right. So people need that confidence rebuilt, that people must realize my vote counts. Therefore I should vote. So that is where the 17th Amendment, the Constitutional Council, the independent commissions and all those things need to come into play. But there is a question, are we with Danny Kaufman in, that you need to build these institutions, that governance is...
institutional architecture.
That's right. Is it a prerequisite for development and, better standards? Or is it kind of the Mushtaq Khan argument, right? This is all too fluid and dynamic and people are struggling to get to positions of power and businesses are trying to establish themselves. So governance gets, sidetracked. I mean, there is some middle ground there, right? And I honestly hope that the government comes to the realization, from my point of view, that it is necessary to rebuild these institutions. So there's already talk about, getting the 17th Amendment sorted out. So I hope it moves in that direction, because otherwise, like you said, this crisis of confidence could just lead to a collapse of the whole system.
Professor Rohan Samarjeev of Learn Asia, which you are associated with as well, wrote a very moving tribute to you, both on LBO and on the website, detailing a record, and quite an admirable record.